how these normal people built million-dollar businesses during economic crisis. In a time when financial storms raged and conventional wisdom declared success was out of reach, a group of ordinary people defied all obstacles to accomplish extraordinary feats. So who were these talented minds? In this video, we'll share the inspiring stories of people who overcame incredible odds to achieve remarkable success even in the midst of the worst economic downturns in modern history. So be ready to learn the undiscovered secrets, unusual techniques, and sheer determination that enable these folks to construct million-dollar enterprises when the world seemed to be collapsing around them. William Durant. In the late 1800s, William Durant's business was still making horse-drawn wagons. In 1904, he bought the Buick Motor Company and moved into the new car market. But it wasn't until 1908, in the middle of the 13-month panic of 1907, when business dropped by 30%, that Durant chose to start GM as a holding company to buy more car companies. This approach would work well for GM, which would go on to become one of the biggest companies in the world history. Reed Hastings. According to legend, Reed Hastings was inspired to start an online DVD rental by mail service after Blockbuster charged him $40 for not returning his copy of Apollo 13 on time. In an odd development, a couple of years after the fact, when the website bubble burst in the mid-2000s, Blockbuster committed the lethal error of not accepting the new organization. This nearly made it fizzle. Netflix had the option to face the hardship by utilizing its unique soul to make the principal web-based on-request video administration, leaving its physical adversary in the residue for good. Today, Netflix is worth nearly $34 billion and is as yet developing. This is because the demand for home television is higher than ever. Joe Gebbia and Brian Chesky. In August 2008, tech entrepreneurs Joe Gebbia and Brian Chesky started a simple online platform to rent out an air mattress in their high-rent San Francisco apartment. This was the beginning of a business that is presently worth very much cash. By 2009, the site had in excess of 10,000 clients and 2,500 posts. Not long from that point forward, huge name financial backers started pouring in. Everything else is history. Charles Flint. Charles Flint started IBM as the Computing, Tabulating, Recording Company, CTR, in June 1911, right in the middle of a 2-year panic. At first, IBM sold industrial and business tools. While most industries saw double-digit drops in business, CTR was able not only to live, but also grow. It finally changed its name to IBM and became the leader in the technology that would support the digital revolution, making billions of dollars along the way. William Hewlett and David Packard. Despite the fact that it was little contrasted with the economic crisis of the early 20s, the downturn of 1937 to 38 was one of the most obviously terrible of the 20th 100 years, with a gross domestic product drop of almost 19%. In spite of this, William Hewlett and David Packard, who had quite recently moved on from Stanford, decided to make an arrangement for their new electronics company, Hewlett-Packard. During the downturn, still hurting from the Great Depression, the two started their business on January 1, 1939. They would go on to make it one of the biggest computer companies in the world. J. Pritzker. 2 months into the recession of 1958, billionaire J. Pritzker bought the Hyatt House Hotel near Los Angeles International Airport. Even though business and tourism were slowing down because of the economy, Pritzker kept going and opened 2 more hotels before the end of the decade. In the end, this group would include almost 900 buildings and bring in more than $5 billion each year. Fred Smith. FedEx's founder, Fred Smith, came up with the idea of fast, efficient, and reliable door-to-door package transport for a school project while he was at Yale. He later started the business at the end of the recession of 1969-1970. Even though this recession was mild and didn't last long, Smith had a hard time selling a new type of service to a business community that was more hesitant than normal to spend money on unknown providers. He overcame the problem though and went on to be a pioneer in his field and build a business that in 2019 shipped over 6 million packages a day. Joe Colombe. In the last part of the 1950s, when the economy was slow, a little chain of corner shops called Immediately Markets opened in Los Angeles. In 1967, subsequent to getting back from an outing to the jungles, Merchant Joe's organizer Joe Colombe changed the name of his store to Dealer Joe's and transformed it into the crazy, tiki-themed food store we know and love today. Today, the company runs nearly 300 shops in the US and is still growing. Thomas Edison, companies that are doing well now, but started when the economy was in bad shape, go back further than you might think. On account of General Electric, GE, we're discussing almost 150 years. Thomas Edison, who imagined the light, began the worldwide organization in 1876, directly in the center of a 6-year world downturn brought about by the frenzy of 1873. The organization made it, however, in 1876 became one of the first 12 organizations in the Dow Jones Modern Normal, where it has remained from that point forward. Today, GE is a world forerunner in medical services, flying, framework, banking, media, diversion, natural and data frameworks. Charles Revson. During the Great Depression, the famous drugstore cosmetics company made its first mark when it released Cherries in the Snow, the first red nail paint with color. Because nail paint was so popular, the brand quickly added lipsticks and other cosmetics to its line. By the end of World War II, Revlon had become the second biggest makeup company in the United States. The company from the 1930s is now worth $3 billion. Walt and Roy Disney. During the worst of the Great Depression, Walt and Roy Disney changed the name of the studio they ran out of their garage to Walt Disney Productions. Steamboat Willie, which stars Mickey Mouse, was the first animation to be shown on a big screen. It was also the first of its kind to have a sound that went with the animation. It seems that what America needed in those hard times was a cartoon mouse singing and steering a ship down a river. Energized by their expanded achievement, the siblings left behind the old to find something new. In 1937, Snow White and the Seven Smaller People were the main full-length energized highlight film. Today, it has total assets of $130 billion and amusement parks from one side of the planet to the other. Bill Gates and Paul Allen. In the mid-1970s, when the US was in the middle of stagflation, two nerdy college dropouts, Bill Gates and Paul Allen, were hard at work coming up with the idea of user-friendly running software for home and business computers. In 1975, they officially started their business in Albuquerque under the name Microsoft. By the end of the next year, they had made $16,000, which is about $400,000 in today's money. In the early 1980s, Microsoft teamed up with tech giant IBM, which was started during the Long Depression of 1873 to 1896, to sell their goods together. Even though the economy was bad, Microsoft beat the chances and is still one of the most important companies in the world. As we come to the end of this video, we are amazed by the unbreakable spirit and unwavering determination of these ordinary people who dare to dream big in the middle of a bad economy. So the next time you're going through a tough financial time, think about these people who did what no one thought they could do. Thank you for watching. We hope this video has inspired you to delve deeper into the world of finance. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more updates and trends.